Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Kung Fu, brought to us by Irem and Nintendo. Originally known as Kung Fu Master in the arcades, it was ported over to the NES in its early lifespan, as well as just about every other console that was available at the time. The game has the featured character known as Thomas trying to save his girlfriend Sylvia from the evil Mr. X. To do this, Thomas must travel through 5 floors of a building and get to the top where he faces off with Mr. X himself. So here we go with Kung Fu for the NES. You can play the game 1 or 2 players, and they have a Game A and a Game B. I'll be playing on Game B because it's a much harder overall experience. Enemies seem to come at you in greater numbers, and they come at you a little bit faster. You have a kick and punch button, as well as you have a few different moves, being able to kick and punch in the air, as well as kick and punch while ducking. In the first level, you pretty much just have the normal enemies that are going to run at you, as well as the tougher enemy being the knife thrower. For the knife thrower, duck under a knife that may come straight at you, or jump over the one he may throw low, and then immediately run in and hit him twice in order to get rid of him. As soon as one of those knife throwers gets on screen, it's recommended you try to take him out as quick as possible. For the first level boss, getting close to him so he actually starts attacking, but immediately as soon as he pulls the stick back up before he swings it down, and then immediately get in there and hit him a few times to get rid of him before he ends up being able to attack again. Once you defeat the boss, you move up the staircase and move on to the next level. On floor 2, it starts with pots falling from the ceiling. You can easily hit the pots while they're still falling if they're close to you. The green pots release a small snake that rolls across the screen. The yellow ones release a dragon that'll spit fire straight out and then disappear. And then you have the floating ones above, which are probably the most dangerous. If you do not take them out, they end up breaking apart and shattering in 3 different pieces, and if they hit you, they will deal a good amount of damage to you. Midway through, the pots stop and the normal enemies start to attack again. For the boss, duck under the boomerang he throws out straight above, and then jump over the bottom one and get in close and duck right in front of him and keep hitting him. This will prevent you from getting hit by the top boomerang by the time it comes back to him, and by the time the bottom one comes back to him, he would have already been defeated, hopefully. Round 3 has some small enemies as well as the normal big enemies. These little acrobatic guys are a real pain because they can actually deal a good amount of damage with their jump flip. For the most part, they'll just stay low to the ground. You can deliver a quick punch or sweep kick to get rid of them, but sometimes they will jump over you and try to land on you, in which case they will deal some damage. Just like before, when you have the knife guys on screen, try to focus on them instead of dealing with the other guys for that few seconds, because the knives from the knife throwing guy will deal a lot more damage than the guys trying to grab you. Usually when the little guys bunch up together, that's a good chance that one of them may go for one of those flip jumps, in which case you can actually stand up and try to kick or punch them in midair, and you can get rid of them that way to prevent them from landing on you. For the boss of the level, get in close and wait for him to punch you straight out, and duck right in front of him and keep hitting him low. If he goes for a straightforward kick, either jump over it or back away quick enough so that his big boot doesn't end up hitting you. Level 4 has bees or hornets coming out of the holes in the wall, trying to get you that way. The first few you can easily run underneath, but then when you get farther away from the hole, they will start coming at you from the back. It only takes one punch or kick to take them out, so be sure when they're on the level, either punch them straight or you may have to duck and hit them that way. Thankfully, just like the pots, they stop about halfway through the level, and you just have to deal with the other guys. For the boss of the level, duck underneath the fireball, then get in close and start punching him. He will teleport, but stay ducked for the most part. Don't actually punch him straight on because it'll just knock his head off and he'll end up disappearing, and you really won't do any damage to him. He'll just teleport again. For the final level of the game, Mr. X is pretty much sending the rest of his army out at you. So you have the little guys, you have the knife-throwing guys, and the normal enemies you're going to have to deal with during this stage as you make your way towards Mr. X himself. Just try to do your best to either avoid getting too much damage done to you, because Mr. X himself can deal quite a bit of damage in just one hit. The worst thing you can really have happen to you is get a couple of the knife-throwing guys on screen at once, because you'll have to keep jumping and ducking as much as possible to get away from those knives. For the boss himself, get in close and start doing your sweep kick from a distance. Hit him a few times and then back away. Normally on the A mode you can just use the sweep kick only, but I found that on B mode you'll have to do the sweep kick a few times and then back away, or else he may be able to get a jump kick in on you and do a lot of damage to you. And there you have the ending to Kung Fu. You then go back down to level 1 and continue the game all over again. I have heard that if you actually complete the game 50 times, instead of Mr. X you'll fight Sylvia, but I've actually never done that myself and I've never actually seen it done, so I'm not sure if that's actually true or not. Also interesting to note, there is a sequel to this game available for the Famicom, but it was never brought over to North America. There's also a version for the Game Boy, which is slightly different than this version altogether, as well as a game that's very similar that Irem put out, known as Vigilante. And with that, that's going to wrap up this edition of Play It Through. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.